Hey, it's Ryan. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the making of video. This goes along with the horror short I just made. It's called Ankle Biter. It's on this channel. I'll link it above and also in the description below. It's a short horror film I made over a weekend, and I wanted to show you kind of a behind the scenes slash making of so you could see kind of how it all was done. Because when I watch a movie or I watch a short, I love to see how things are made and what kind of went into it as far as technical gear and effects and different things like that. So that's what this video is. So thank you for being here as always. Let's take a look at it. I've got a bunch of things set up in front of me. This is a 500 gigabyte SSD, 500 gigs of storage, and because it's a solid state drive, it's really quick. It's basically like a bigger flash drive or a thumb drive. This was very helpful. In fact, I went out and bought this so I could keep all my files on one little storage thing for this movie. So I've got that all hooked up to a computer here in front of me. I've also got the memory card from the camera. So this short started just as an idea. It was bouncing around in my head for a while. Wasn't sure where it was going to go or how I was going to do it. But finally, I just decided I had a free weekend. I'm going to shoot this horror short. I had the idea. So the first thing I did was I wanted to write it down, of course. So I had made notes in my phone, but nothing real concrete. So what I did, I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of dialogue. So I sketched it out in a kind of a storyboard style, a comic book style. I didn't put a lot of work into the drawings, which you can see, but it gave me an idea of the shots I wanted and how I wanted it to unfold. I felt like this would be more helpful to me than writing an actual script because I'm just a very visual person. So I wanted to see what I was seeing in my head and have kind of a reference to go by. In the end, I almost shot it shot for shot from what I drew in the storyboard. So as you can see here, here's her looking at the camera, rolling the ball, and there is the finished shot. It's very similar. So that was where I started with the storyboard. The next thing I did was decide what I was going to shoot it on. And I shot it on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, which is a mouthful. A lot of you know now the 6K is out, and as of just recently, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro is coming out. I shot this on the 4K, which at this point is a couple years old. I'll go into detail about my full thoughts on this camera in a different video. But in short, it's a great camera. You can adapt any lens to it. For the most part, vintage lenses or micro four thirds lenses work on it natively. Doesn't have great autofocus. You can press the button once and it'll focus once. So there's enough autofocus that you can set up a shot, although not completely necessary. But this camera I really like. I really like the way it shoots. And I shot in a format called B-RAW, Blackmagic RAW, which is a raw video format where you can adjust the metadata after you shoot. So if you feel like the shot was a little overexposed in camera or the color was a little off, you can shift everything all around like you would with a photo in Lightroom or something like that. So I chose to go with Blackmagic. It's the compression is 12:1. So if that means something to you, that's what I shot it on. Although I could have very easily used ProRes, which this camera also shoots different flavors of ProRes. I went with the Blackmagic RAW mostly just to test it out and see how it worked and what I thought. And I absolutely loved shooting on this camera. I shot onto a CFast card, which fits natively in the camera. It also takes SD cards, but the CFast is a little faster, and I happen to have one. So that's what I used. So I knew I was going to do a creature shot in this for the Ankle Biter under the bed. Okay, so here was the original shot. I'll show this on the screen. And this is my daughter. She's also in it. She also played the creature under the bed. So for the effect shot, we dirtied up her hands with some makeup and her arms, and this is her under the bed. I tried this two different ways. The first time I shot this, I put two little X's on her head and used those as reference points so that I could track a mask onto her face later. I found it was just unnecessary because she was sitting completely still except for her arms. So what I did was in Photoshop, I just cut out her face and manipulated the look of the cutout face in Photoshop until I thought it looked pretty scary. I won't go into super detail, but basically it looks like this. spooky face. And in this shot, you can see her under the bed. And then if you turn this layer off and just look at the mask layer, there's kind of the scary face with the superimposed teeth and the oddly shaped face. And I just put that over her real face. And there's kind of the scary look. It's just a quick shot of her doing scary finger movements, and the mask is on her face. So that's really all that was. Later, I would kind of color grade it, change the color, bring down the lighting, bring up the shadows, and just make it look generally scarier. But it was a pretty simple effect, and I thought it served its purpose in the film. For the lighting, a lot of it was natural. We shot this in my son's bedroom, and in his bedroom, it's kind of under construction, so it looked a little rough and a little spooky. There was a lamp on a bookshelf that was practical lighting. There was some light coming in through the window, at least for the parts that we shot during the day. We kind of shot it over 2 half days. Easily could have shot it all in one day. That's just the way it worked out. So we did use a little light, and then when we didn't want the light, we just pulled the curtains over the window. The only extra light I used was one cheap light from Amazon. I'll link all this stuff below, by the way, the camera and the media and the light and everything. It was a Limo Studio light, which is just a cheap photography light. It was a daylight balanced compact fluorescent. And I did use that for supplemental lighting in some scenes, but it was pretty basic, just one extra light. And was it perfect? No. But like everything in this, we made it work. The entire beginning of the film was just shot in his bedroom, like I just explained. Then it goes black, comes back up. You hear everyone talking as they're getting ready to leave for school. That we recorded afterwards with just the microphone. We recorded it in the same environment. I told everybody what to say. We edited it together. And then I put a filter on it to make it sound like it was coming from downstairs or a different room. But that was all recorded after the fact, and the filter was added on after that. Title sequence, and then we've got the mom in the laundry room. Sam's in there doing the laundry and everything. That was one instance where I was glad that I shot with the Blackmagic RAW. It felt a little overexposed because behind her, there was just a glass door and there was a lot of light coming through. So to be able to turn down the ISO and bring down the highlights and everything with the RAW video file, that worked out nicely. I got to kind of make this scene a lot more subtle and a lot more, a lot darker and less white than it initially was. Working with children and animals, they always say not to do it, right? My kids were great. Don't get me wrong; they love to help out. The dog, on the other hand, just kind of has a mind of his own. Ozzy, Ozzy, come here. I shot a lot of his stuff when he was just walking around. His name really is Ozzy. The part where he gets grabbed under the bed looks all scary. All that is my daughter was playing with him under the bed. He was completely happy. No dogs were harmed in the making of this. He was just playing with her. And then when she grabs him, I sped up the arms so that it happens real quickly and scary. So it looks like she grabs him really quick and then pulls him. We sped everything up. So I just adjusted the speed and the timing on that, made it look a lot scarier. Of course, the little piano stab helps sell the effect. That's all that really is. I mean, the rest of it is quite simple. You see it all unfold. The ball scene where she's rolling the ball under and thinking it's the dog, very horror film type scene. That's just my daughter under the bed rolling the ball back and forth. We bought the ball at a dollar store, so we had to pop it. We lost $1. But that all just played out, like I said. And then, of course, the reveal with the creature was just my daughter under the bed, and we did the face swap with the Photoshop effect where we just cut out her face, and that's pretty much it. The final scene where the daughter comes home from school and sees the mother and then realizes that there's a dead mother under the bed. Creepy for sure. All that is you have the camera on a tripod and then you mask out part of the scene. And you don't move the camera, you shoot another one, and then you layer them on top of each other, and then you can have multiple. Hey, dude, how's it going?
What are you doing?
Good. I was just explaining how you do a scene like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like that. Okay, see ya.
Cool.
So that's all that is. And that's really it for the shooting. A lot more work, of course, went into the editing, getting it, the timing the way we wanted it, building up the tension. Of course, the color grade took a lot of work to kind of just get the colors where we want it. We didn't want it to be absolute day for night where you make it super blue and dark looking, because it wasn't night when it all happened. It was kind of during the day, but we wanted the light to be, kind of a greenish bluish tint, bring it down a little bit, just give it that scary horror movie vibe. I think for the most part, I accomplished that. It's something I work on all the time, color grading, finding what looks really nice. So, it's a matter of preference really. And I also spent a lot of work on the sound. I would say 90% of what you hear in this, which by the way, if you watch this again, or you are going to watch it, definitely watch it with headphones on or earbuds in. 90% of that sound was recorded after the fact. In fact, there was maybe even 95% of it. After I shot it, I went back. I took an Audio-Technica 875R shotgun microphone, one of my favorite shotgun mics. It's very small, not like a usual giant shotgun mic. It is phantom powered, so I powered it from a Tascam DR60L, I believe it is, DR60D, which is basically a digital recorder. It has multiple XLR balanced ins. It has aux ins and outs and headphone jacks. It was more than I needed, but it was what I had. I could have used a simpler setup, but I used an audio recorder, this Audio-Technica mic, and then just kind of re-recorded everything, even the dialogue. So all the dialogue was re-recorded and dubbed back in. And I did that all in the original environment in which it was shot. So if it was in the bedroom, I did it in the bedroom. If it was in the laundry room, I did it in the laundry room. Also in each room, I recorded the ambient sounds and just what the room sounded like. So I think it really sounded pretty natural. It also sounded 10 times creepier because it was recorded so well with the digital recorder and the microphone, instead of just getting the sound out of the camera. You can hear each creak, you can hear every little sound, and it really adds to how frightening it is. Even for the score, I went to the out-of-tune piano and just came up with that riff and recorded that myself too. Played the piano part, recorded it with the same audio setup, and then put that all in. There's a few of the backward stabs that build up tension. That's just me playing the low notes and then reversing it so it builds up instead of having the note fade out when you play it. So that's kind of it. I hope I touched on things that are interesting. I hope you got something out of this and enjoyed it. It was a rather simple process and it still took a lot of work. So I appreciate you liking and enjoying it and watching it. If you want to share it with other people who like horror movies, of course, I appreciate that too. And I appreciate you being here as always. Hopefully we'll make some more films soon and some more YouTube videos. As always, thanks for being here with me, Ryan. I'll see ya.